Sword of the Meek, which is a combo that caught a lot of people's attention at the very beginning. But then people realize it's a 2-card combo, but you don't win right away. And
it takes some time.
Yeah, it takes some time. And a lot, would you rather do that? Would you rather show and tell? So a lot of people, or reanimate, a lot of people ditch the combo right after. So you're not going to see a lot of Thopter Foundry Sword of the Meek decks in Legacy. So it's kind of refreshing to see him at the 4-1. He also has Chalice of the Void. That's like a combo deck, right?
Yeah.
Play turn 1 Chalice. A lot of decks just fold to that.
A little surprised not to see Keith have one there, as he's going to put the hand face up. Force of Will, Tezzeret, Sword of the Meek. There's also a couple lands, so you see Carl's going to pick up his hand, probably spread them out for us. There's an island and Pluto Delta as well, so we could see a turn 2 Tezzeret here.
Yep.
However, that Force Will means that the Belcher deck can't go off right away.
Exactly.
Or at least we don't think so.
We have a lot of times the Belcher deck, when it's on the play, will go, da-da-da-da-da-da, do I win? And if you don't Force Will, they do. And this is one of those where, while we know it's there, you may want to make him Force a Will, because if he does, he gets rid of Tezzeret and it buys you a heck of a lot of time. But Carl's got to play really well here to actually burn a spell or two that's not vital. You can't really go all in and then hit a Force a Will, because you're in worse shape than you would if you had a Tezzeret.
That's really interesting, too, because the only blue card that Keith does have is a Tezzeret in his hand. So if he were to play that Tezzeret next turn and does draw a blue card, then Hendrix could go for it as well. But it makes you wonder if Keith has an idea of what Hendrix is playing. He is a guy who is well known in this area and does put up some successful results. So it doesn't look like his hand's all that great, though. He's got double Belcher, he's got a Lion's Eye Diamond, a Burning Wish. So it looks like he has a lot of the cards to actually kill with, but none of the starters.
He has to discard now because he didn't, unless he mulliganed. He must have mulliganed.
Yeah, he must have mulliganed.
Okay, because, Jody's like, how many cards in your hand, Kind of pointed at him, so it kind of gave me the idea he actually did not mulligan. And in that case, you got to play that Lion's Eye Diamond. You can't really discard with the Charbelcher deck.
Yep. So Keith is going to play a Sword of the Meek, add some mana. Going to play a Nile Spellbomb.
Main deck Spellbomb.
Yep, they normally have one of those because they can transmute artifact form, find it with Tezzeret, all that good stuff, and he's just going to keep the Force One of the Tezzeret in his hand. So I think he's got a pretty good idea. Does Jody what he's playing against? He says, I'm not letting this thing go.
No, good hold by Jody. A lot of people would be tempted to play the Tezzeret, and then he could realize himself to be dead right away. And he draws another Burning Wish. Not really what he needs. So probably going to see a Lion's Eye Diamond come down here to prevent discard. You might see him discard here, but I probably wouldn't want to.
Yeah, he's not on the Storm Kill this game, that's for sure. He's got multiple copies of Burning Wish. He's got a couple of copies of Charbelcher in his hand as well. So again, he's got the ways to finish off the opponent, but he doesn't have any of the rituals to get the job done. So going to be a tough game for Hendrix to win, just a really poor mulligan. And one of the things about Belcher is that your goal here is to steal the first game a high percentage of the time, so that on the third game he'll be on the play. And then you can make it so the opponent has the mulligan for Forcible to be able to get the job done here.
Right.
But that's not something that Keith's going to have to do. And now Keith is going to play a Dark Slick Shores, going to float 2 mana. And now we're probably going to see Tezzeret join the party, which means that Jody likely drew another blue card.
Yeah, and he actually discards Burning Wish here. So Carl opts not to play the Lion's Eye Diamond to keep the Storm Dream alive. I'm not sure if I like that, just because you're playing against a blue deck, and I kind of want all my cards, but we'll see what he does here. So Tezzeret now up to 4. Blue card in hand to allow Jody to force a will if Carl tries to get frisky over there, try to combo someone out. And this is a perfect example of the unfair decks of Legacy here with Charbelcher. Obviously, it doesn't look like this game, but most of these draws kill you on turn 1 or 2. And if you don't have an answer, like force a will, then it could be, lights out right at the beginning of the game. So Probe here, taking a look-see.
So no blue card.
All right.
Am I wrong? Yeah, no blue
no
card.
blue card. So he drew Elvis Spirit Guide. So, and he has 2 rights. Does he have a way to produce red mana?
I don't think he has a red mana starter.
Oh, man. If he had a red mana starter, this would be, that's easily enough mana.
Yeah, because he's got
1, 2 with the lines. That would be enough. It'd be 3 mana from the rights, 1 mana from the Elvis Spirit Guide, which is enough for Charbelcher, and then Lines Eye Diamond, 3 to activate Charbelcher.
Yeah. Don't know if it would be completely game. Actually, yeah, he's got the 1 Titan in his deck, so there's Lion's Eye Diamond.
I don't think unless we're missing something, I don't think he can actually cast those Rite of Flames.
He's got an Empty of the Warrens in his hands as other red cards, so again, he needs to just hope that Jody doesn't draw a blue card. That's his big plan.
Yeah, and Jody, what do you do here? Do you keep upping Tezzeret? I think you need to, because you want to hit your Thopter Foundry.
I mean, you do want to hit your. I don't know. Like, I don't love trying to hit Thought Profounder here. The only reason is because like I don't feel like it does very much. It's like a very slow clock. The life you're getting is not going to matter.
You can pitch it Force Will though, right?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Okay,
yeah.
I forgot about that one. It is blue.
Yeah, it's one of those weird blue artifacts that you can ditch it. That's the only reason I would want. Yeah, you don't have time for that right now. Right now we're scraping for a blue card.
Yeah.
I don't know what's in Jody's hand. He drew something. So he's cracking his land.
Yeah,
he might be cracking. Yeah, he could be cracking the Spell Bomb here too to see if he draws it. I would have cracked the Spell Bomb the last turn, or actually way earlier, just so you got to see if he hit that blue card.
Yeah.
I mean, Carl might just believe that he has the blue card, so Jody could be on the big bluff. But the jig is up now. He knows there is only a Force Will in his hand.
2 mana. This is a Chalice of the Void on 1, and that is going to be a big problem.
That is backbreaking.
Yeah.
That is Carl's entire game right there.
Yeah, it's a very, very difficult card to go off through.
Yeah, especially with knowing he has the 2 Rite I mean, maybe he had like a Seething Song and he had like a Tinderwall already in play, maybe.
Yeah.
But now it's like, man, you were just in deep trouble.
Lion's Eye Diamond off the top. This hand has just not come together at all for Carl this game.
No, a land grant might have been able to get him in the game because you can actually land grant, play a land, Elvis Spirit Guide, then have Burning Wish to start looking through his sideboard to get something. But right now, not so good. So we'll see Chalice here on the screen. It counters all spells. So if you were to play something uncounterable, Chalice of the Void would not work on it.
Yep.
It is another weird card from back in the day.
Old Mirrodin.
Yep. Old Mirrodin's famous for making a bunch of cards that are either cool or broken. Affinity came from that whole era. Everyone remembers that if you played back then.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Not true.
Yeah. You know who loves it? Another friend we mentioned earlier, Alex Maslton from our area.
The Affinity Master.
The master himself. So there are people that, latch onto a deck and never let go.
That's right. I wouldn't let go either. I think he's got like 4 modern Grand Prix top 8s with it, so
yeah.
I wouldn't let go either, trust me.
I remember, I think it was Pierre, Canale, who won a Pro Tour with
Won Pro Tour Columbus
Affinity,
in 2004.
It's one of those decks, even in Legacy, if nobody sees it coming, you can come in and just crush people with it. Because it's a deck that's easily hated out, but if nobody has to hate, then I bet you Jody's benefiting from the same thing. He's got all these artifacts, and who plays artifact hate nowadays?
Yeah, not a ton of people, that's for sure. Chalice of the Void going to be found off of Tezzeret as it does tick up to 6. So we'll see if he wants to try to deploy this for 2. And if he has it on 1 and 2, then it's like virtually impossible for Hendrix to be able to go off.
Yeah, Tezzeret will just ultimate 2 and kill him in about 1 turn anyway. If you guys want to bring the Tezzeret up on screen here, Agent of Bolus, his ultimate drains you 2 life per, or double it says to be more specific, for every artifact you control. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As a 20-point drain. He probably could have just killed him this turn, actually. I just read how much damage that would have been, right?
It's going to be 2, 4, 6,
8, 10. He has a Chalice in his hand for another he could have played and 1 more artifact there, I think. No, it would have been lethal. It would have been 1 short. 1 artifact short. Because you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in play, right?
We lose twice the number, so each one deals 2. So we need 10 artifacts in play to kill him.
Yeah, 8. I counted. He only has 6.
Oh, he's at 16. Okay,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
He has 6. I thought he had another artifact in hand too. All right, so 1 more turn probably.
Yeah, Tezzeret will be finishing this game off soon enough. Another Lion's Eye Diamond off the top. This is a very poor series of draws here for Hendrix.
Right, and it's actually inevitability because Tezzeret, especially in the blue-black Tezzeret deck, you're going to be hitting artifacts every time you plus Tezzeret.
Yeah.
So it's just a couple more turns where he just needs 2 more artifacts to finish the siphoning off here.
So Hendrix just placed another Lion's Eye Diamond, pass the turn back. Keith going to activate Tezzeret, going to knock it down, attack with the sword, put him to 11, and then Tezzeret will be lethal in the next turn for the ultimate. So down to 11 as a 5/5 Sword of the Meek's going to come across into the red zone. See the counting here of exactly what does this do. It's all right, take 5. Yep.
Got Tezzeret. Did you ever play with it, making your little what is it called? The 2-mana cantrip that draws a card, the one that puts a land in your hand, the Ichor Wellspring.
Yeah, the Wellsprings.
Yeah, that was definitely a sweet time there. He gazed, attacked before. It just has to be through Planeswalker. Yep. So
Hendrix draws a card here. Put that on 5 so you make sure he knows exactly how big it is. And draws a Lotus Petal, which isn't going to do very much.
Yeah, Carl is pretty much down to no outs because you need either 1 or 2 to start making mana, land grant being 2. Tinder Wall being 1, Rite of Flame being 1. So plenty of mana things he could have done. However, the chalices will prevent that from happening.
So Lotus Petal comes into play. Pass the turn back here. And assuming that Keith does just attack and activate Tesserate's ultimate, this one should be over.
Yeah, this game, Chalice is such a good card against a lot of decks, but Charbelcher is one of those where you have to pay for being so explosive. It actually folds to a lot of things. So folds, and folds.
Chase the Mind Sculptor going to come into play here. Says I'm going to Fate Seal you, and that's going to do it. So Jody Keith is going to win game number 1 here against Carl Hendrix. Blue-Black Tesseract up against Charbelcher. So we'll go to the sideboards here. We'll go to the Belcher list first, which, oddly enough, I've put in front of myself to take a look at.
Please, help yourself with some Belcher.
I do like this deck a little bit.
There are goblins in there.
In theory, there are goblins in here.
The Warrens are emptied in there. So.
A Vandal Blast, an Ingot Chewer, a Pyroclasm, 2 copies of Guttural Response, and Empty the Warrens, a Pyroblast. We've got 4 Xantid Swarms, a Reference Silence, a Hull Breach, and 2 Red Elemental Blasts. So a couple blasts here, which we do see in the sideboard sometimes here from Belcher players. Could come in, again, 2 Rebs, and then the Singleton Pyroblast. You also got 4 Xantid Swarms, but those are for more counter-heavy matchups, so I'd be a little surprised to see them come in here because there aren't a lot of counter spells here, just 4 Force of Wills. And then the Singleton Ingot Chewer is actually pretty good against Chalice of the Void because even though the evoke cost is a single red, its actual casting cost is what Chalice cares about, and that's 5.
Yeah.
So that can actually take care of a Chalice where Vandal Blast could not. So I see that card coming in, but again, with Belcher, you don't really change your deck too much. A lot of these Singletons in the sideboard obviously are for Burning Wish, so I don't see a lot of cards moving in and moving out because you want to make sure that your deck does the same thing every time.
Yeah. Well, on the flip side, we have an artifact sideboard. And a lot of these cards I've never actually seen before in play. I kind of know what they do. Cursed Totem, that's the one where activated abilities of creatures can't be played, I believe.
Yeah,
Cursed Totem. 2, the Abyss. The Abyss. Funny card again. Nobody really plays it. It's one of those cards that you have to I believe you have to sacrifice a non-artifact creature during each turn. Both players do. You see Nether Void and the Abyss kind of in commander decks. It's one of those, prideful collector cards that you would have. But you see it here in competitive Magic. And then we see something from the commander set. And there it is on the screen, the Abyss. But we see a card, the only card in the new commander set that's coming out that I believe is playable is Toxic Deluge. And it's actually in his deck as a 1-of. It's the 3-mana Wrath of God, pretty much for black, where you pay X amount of life, and the creatures get -X till end of turn. A new card that's come out there it is on the screen. I think this is a card that can see some legacy play. I'm not sold on it completely, but it can replace the Parish in my sideboard if you guys are thinking about playing Stoneblade next week. It can do the same thing because against elves, it kills everything. Against Deathbright Shamans, you pay 2 life. You can also take out some things that aren't green as well. You can board it against goblins or merfolk. The only negative, of course, is that you don't really want to pay all that life to kill a Tarmogoyf, or Parish to kill a Tarmogoyf, free of charge. Other cards are Meekstone. I believe that's creatures with power 3 or greater.
We're gonna test your knowledge today.
Oh man, we're going deep with these cards. Meekstone, I think 3 or greater don't untap. Artifact, and I think it's back in Revise or all the way back beta. There it is.
Power 2 or greater.
Power 2 greater.
Wait, hold on. Power greater than 2. No, yep. Okay, so power greater than 2, so 3 or greater.
3 or greater. Okay,
You're
cool.
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I've seen a more modern one.
I've seen Chris Anderson play this before.
Yeah, it's a pretty funny card also. Then he's got Grafdigger's Cage, Trinisphere, Pithing Needle. There's a lot of prison-style decks where you can play, let's say, a Trinisphere very early, like a turn 1 or 2, and the game's over, like Belcher. If you have to pay 3 mana for all your stuff, you're not going to net gain any mana, you're not going to be able to win. This seems like a nightmare for Belcher because you got to get through Force of Will, like everyone else. That's your turn 1. And then if you say go, turn 2, he untaps with Trinisphere, Chalice of the Void, 4 of those, Pithing Needle. Let's see what else he has. Duresses, like hand disruption when it comes to that stuff. He has Ratchet Bomb, which is pretty good against lines of diamonds and such. You can prepare and stop him from getting that advantage. You have, let's see, Engineered Explosives, another decent card against him as well. So a lot of good artifacts in this deck against the Belcher deck. So it could be worse. Could be playing against like a bug deck that plays 4 Hymn to Turok, Force of Wills, and Counter Magic. But this is not exactly an easy matchup at all.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a rough road ahead for Carl. You see Jody shuffling up. Looks like Carl is just tending to his sideboard a little further here before we do move forward. So he'll be on the play for game number 2. We'll see, again, both these players sitting at 4-1. Each of them have picked up a loss so far. Belcher, this kind of glass cannon strategy. If things go the way that you're hoping, you'll run people over and kill them on turn 1 a bunch.
Yep.
If
If
not,
not,
yeah, it's going to be a rough day.
Real tough. Real tough. All right, so we'll see if Carl can get it done. He's actually taking a break from the table. He's questioning the judge about something. A lot of times players, if you guys are confused about how a card works in interaction, you can step away from the table and ask the judge. They can kind of give you the 411 on how some cards interact. And that happens a lot more in Legacy than it does in Standard.
Yeah.
Older
There are
cards.
some confusing cards in Jody's deck. Transmute Artifact. That one has a lot of text, even though you didn't see it that game. Chalice of the Void. Again, it's this card that makes it so that a certain casting cost of spell cannot be cast, but it's a trigger. So the controller of the Chalice actually has to remember the trigger, or something bad happens. So stuff like that. You got to make sure that you that the cards there. You make sure you want to know how all of them work as you prepare to move forward, especially when you're down a game.
Yeah, definitely.
Lion's Eye Diamond can be a little bit confusing too, but how and when you can add mana, because you do see Storm a lot of time have to hold priority and break their diamond. How does that work with Belcher? With Burning Wish on the stack, you break it to add mana and then activate, or to actually cast Empty the Warren, stuff like that. So there are some confusing cards in our old Legacy format.
Yeah, I remember when Lines of Diamond was unbanned in Legacy, and it really shook the Legacy world. Dredge really got a kick from that kickstart. Discarding your hands on negative. For that deck. They enjoy discarding their hand.
Yeah, not at all. They don't care.
And same thing with Belcher in this situation. You don't care if you discard your hand because it's a free 3-mana Black Lotus to activate your Char Belcher for the win. And it's just fantastic. And then, of course, Storm doesn't really mind either because he gets to replay Infernal Tutor on the stack, allows you to get any card out of your library, such as Demonic Tutor, with a little bit of Lines Eye Diamond help. So the negative on that doesn't seem to be too harsh, and a lot of people take full advantage of that.
Well, I'm not sure exactly what the question is being asked, but if we do find out, we'll certainly relay it back to you guys at home. Of course, we do appreciate you guys joining us here. Cedric Phillips, Shaheen Cerrone, at SCG Live, hashtag SCGDAL for your tweets all weekend long. Shaheen, an enemy of Vintage, so if any Vintage players out there, they can certainly tweet at you.
I'm not an enemy. I'm more just uninterested. It's kind of like, it's funny. I went to Star City and sold about a mountain of cards at one point. It was all commons on commons, and I got like $450 for a bunch of junk commons on commons. And the moral of the story is, I love you, Commander players, because you're the reason why those cards are worth so much money. I mean, who else needs these cards that haven't been played in ages, and they're all Commander staples now? It's selling. Same thing with rares. I mean, like a Chroma's Memorial. How'd I get $12 for that? Well, thank you, Commander players, because you guys play these cards. So thanks to them, they keep the value of these cards that are real sweet, that rotate out of Standard, that maybe people won't play anymore, or really good like draft rares. Those things keep value. So even though I don't delve into the Commander mindset, I don't really play it that much just because I'm not patient enough for the long Commander games, I still respect them, and they're making Magic better altogether, too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Commander myself. Don't get to play it very often, but when I do, it's a lot of fun. And now one thing that we're doing on Star City on the free side too is we've got Commander versus videos that are happening that a lot of people have really liked. So big pro Commander guy right now.
Yeah, my Cube is my casual outlet, I guess you could say. And Cube can get real competitive at some point.
Yeah, power in that Cube?
We have a bunch of cubes. We have a powered combo cube, fully on proxy, pretty sweet. We have a regular rare cube with unpowered. That's my favorite one. And then we have a tribal cube and then a common uncommon cube.
All right.
So we got the cube roulette wheel. We can choose whatever we want to do. Definitely real fun. And for you guys out there who enjoy cube as well, you can tweet me with some ideas at Shaheen MTG. I mentioned that his Sugu's Second Right's my favorite cube card of all time. You can tell me what your favorite cube card is as well. We kind of based it off the Moto cube. Well, we had it way before Moto had a cube, but it's very similar. And Moto tried to put power in their cube, and it wasn't really fun. They took the cube power out. When you don't have power in the cube, you have these real long, fun, sweet interaction matches. When you have powered cube, I was just like, turn 1, Karn liberated. I mean, that's not too fun to play against. So.
You're talking to the wrong guy.
It's fun to do.
You're talking to the wrong guy.
Oh yeah,
that's the most
you're
fun
modern.
That's the most fun thing in the world. What are you talking about?
It's turn 3 in modern. Get out of
here. I couldn't ask for more. Yeah. I love it. Jeez.
As long as you're the wielder. Oh, I had fun doing it. I said, when it's done against me, I get real steamy there.
Yes, I just take it.
Yeah.
I know Karn's power. I deserve to lose to it.
Okay.
It's fine. If I could play turn 1 Karn, boy, sign me up.
Vintage. There you go. For all you vintage guys out there, that's your brew.
That's me.
Play some turn 1 Karn.
Both players taking a mulligan here, down to 6.
The last vintage deck I played was Draw 7. I don't know if you remember that deck. It was years ago. It basically played all the Draw 7s, spells, and like diminishing returns and all that stuff, and then killed with Storm.
Okay. That sounds powerful.
It was. It was before Time Vault was errated, unerrated. Then, whatever series it was at wasn't good before Tezzeret. So, pretty sweet deck. Vintage is another animal out there, another world.
Yeah, it's not for everybody.
No, not for the weak at heart there. You know what is for everybody now? Legacy.
Yeah, for sure.
Anybody can pick up a deck.
Yeah, expect a big tournament next weekend in DC.
Yeah, me too. Whenever you got those East Coast Grand Prix,
yeah,
expect competitive play, expect some real good players, expect a lot of attendance.
Yeah. I know there was a Grand Prix in DC a couple of years ago that was absolutely huge. That Brad Nelson beat Owen Turnwall in the finals. Those guys now teammates on Team Star City Games, but looks like let's see here.
Are we having a turn 1 kill?
I can't
Dead?
tell. I can't tell what happened. I'm not sure if he drew one too many cards or not, did Keith. It looks like he may have, because he's got 6 on one side and a single 1 on the other, so it might be a forced mulligan down to 5. We'll see exactly what the judge and the table spotter says there. So looks like an honest mistake. But the rules are rules.
Rules are rules. We live in a society.
Yeah. Maybe he has to just take a card back at random. Not quite sure. Yeah, just can't tell how many cards. It looks like there's 7 cards there. So.
Yeah, I think he put the 1 back on top.
Yeah. We'll see what does end up happening here. What I thought was going to be a pretty fast match couldn't be farther from the truth.
Yeah, we're only on game 2.
Yeah.
It's been 22 minutes now.
Belcher normally either you're dead or you're not.
Yeah. Yeah, and, there's definitely a reason why Belcher's appealing, because out of nowhere, you're just like, look at my 7 and kill you.
Yeah.
And then we move on, go get some food, go relax, take a little break between rounds.
That's the random card that's going to go back on top of the deck. And it looks like I think if it's a forced mulligan, he's probably going to have to put another one back. I'm not quite sure what the ruling is going to be here. Yeah, it looks like he's probably going to, it's going to be a forced mulligan. He's going to have to put 2 back, so he's going to have to keep 5 cards.
Okay.
So we'll see if that 5 card hand's good enough. Could just die on turn 1 though, so it might not even matter.
Yep. And I see Chrome Mox, and I see a Belcher, and I see Mana, and I see Lion's Eye Diamond. This looks like a turn 1 kill.
Yeah, it looks like we're pretty close to a turn 1 kill. There's a Mox. I think
What's
there's
that red card? That's Burning Wish?
Simian Spirit Guide.
Oh, that's turn 1. Because you go Mox. Well, actually, let's see if he can remove a card and still.
Yeah, I think he's short of mana because his hand is 2 Spirit Guides. His 2 Spirit Guides, a Tinder Wall, a Belcher, a Lion's Eye Diamond, and a Mox. He's on a 6-card mulligan, so he's 1 mana short of being able to play Belcher and activate it in the same turn. So he just has to pass the turn back. So Keith will draw his first card for the turn. And that is a City of Traders. It looks like he's going to play.
Does he have a Force Will is a question. I don't see one.
He might have a Chalice for 1, but a Chalice for 1, oddly enough, is not very good against this hand. Actually, it's fine against this hand. It's not great, though.
He gets to remove Tinderwall, at least on Chrome Mox.
Yeah.
And then you draw another mana source. Now, question is, should he have played Tinderwall during his turn? Because he's not winning with Storm to avoid Chalice for 1.
Sure.
That could have been a better play, I think. But then what do you remove?
Yeah.
You're not really gaining much.
Draw a card. Draws a Gataxian Probe.
Can't even cast that.
Yeah, can't cast that.
And I think if he had Tinderwall out last turn, probably would have won here because he could have he would have Chrome Mox Tinderwall out, 1 Spirit Guide less, and that's 4 mana for Charbelcher, and then he has the Lion's Eye Diamond.
Yeah.
Because, if you use a Tinderwall during the same turn, you get 1 less mana.
Yep.
It costs 1. So if he would have played it last turn, he would have won. Maybe. If Jody doesn't have a force.
He's going to pass the turn back, so Keith's going to quickly untap. He'll take a draw.
Force of Will.
Boy. There's a Demir Signet.
Does he have a blue card to go with it? I think he probably does at this point.
Burning Wish the draw off the top here. That one is going to make it so that I think he can go now, because Chromox on there, Simian's Elvish Spirit Guide remove, play Tinderwall, that's 2, Chromox on Burning Wish is 3, the other Spirit Guide is 4, so that's Belcher, yeah, so that's enough to actually go off, but that Force Will actually blows everything up.
Yep.
That's the problem. So Lion's Eye Diamond is where Hendrix is going to start. He's just going to pass the turn back. Wow. Surprised he doesn't go for it here.
I'm surprised also.
Oh, so I'm sorry. He can't cast Tinderwall. I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, never mind. Never mind.
Yeah, the Chalice.
Yeah,
the Tinderwall.
I
think. Well, we both agree the Tinderwall probably should be in play already.
Yeah.
It kind of waiting doesn't really do much for you with that. Because Storm, if you think Charbelcher's hard to kill with 6 cards, Storm is pretty tough too, especially when you have a Charbelcher in your hand. Once you have that Belcher in, you're pretty much on one plan.
So I'm going to float 2 mana with City of Traders. Going to play a Seat of the Synod as Keith. So there goes the City.
There goes the City.
Blue, black, blue. So maybe a Tezzeret here?
It looks like, yes. I think I agree with you.
Jace too. It's going to be a
Transmute Artifact. Okay. Let's go get something sweet out of our deck here.
I can't wait to see what this is going to be. It could be anything.
Could be
a Trinisphere. Hello and good luck.
Chalice for 1, Trinisphere.
Yeah.
Now he's playing a combo deck over there, right?
Yeah. You don't get to play Magic anymore.
Yeah. That's
and
really funny.
This is what Prison Magic is all about, man.
Yep. I mean, I don't let you play spells. I get to play spells.
Yeah.
Like, who's laughing now?
Yeah.
Combo deck. All right, so Jody is in the driver's seat.
Yeah, to put it bluntly.
To put it as mild as I can.
Yeah. So Transmute Artifact, you see Hendrix is reading that. So he sacrifices a 2-mana artifact, and then Trinisphere costs 1, so you need to pay 1 more for the Trinisphere.
Yep, it's no Tinker, but it's close enough.
It's got great artwork, at least.
It does.
Because that's a picture of yep.
I have no idea. I have no idea what it is.
That's a thing. Stuff is happening.
Okay.
That's what that is.
It is a thing.
That's a transmutation of an artifact.
Oh, so it's an artifact transmuting.
Yes.
Changing into something.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that's what that is. Lion's Eye Diamond off the top.
Do you want to know what my favorite artwork is? My favorite artwork of all time? Probably a Meeboy Changeling would be mine.
That's good artwork.
Yeah.
I like that.
If we have a second, we can bring on the screen a Meeboy Changeling, one of the better art.
Yeah. Both players are just going to play draw go here now, as neither of them can actually cast these spells.
Yep, so Carl can't cast spells. Jody doesn't mind not casting spells.
No, he can just wait forever since he has this cool thing called lands in his deck.
Yeah.
He's just going to pass the turn back, so it's just going to be a lot of draw go, and Carl's going to have to discard some cards here.
I'm not sure what cards Carl can draw to get out of this. It would have to be mana sources that are free up the yin-yang here. We're talking about like every spirit guide in the world.
Yeah, I've played against a Trinisphere when I played this deck a lot in 2009, 2010. I actually beat a what was the mono white stacks? I actually beat a Trinisphere because I drew all of my spirit guides and seeding songs and a Charbelcher. That's like pretty much the only way you can get through because your rituals just aren't going to generate like any mana. So it's super hard to be able to do it. You have to make sure that you discard appropriately. But it can be done. It's not impossible, but improbable.
Yeah, with a Chalice for 1 added to it probably makes it that much harder.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I just don't know what he could possibly draw here to get himself out of this.
Yeah, you have to rock a bunch of spirit guides and seeding song into a Belcher. That is the trick, as it were. Also, your opponent has to be playing mono white and not Force of Will.
And not having 3 Force of Wills in his hand, I think, yes.
Yeah. That's the other trick.
Yeah, yeah. So not only does he have Force of Will backup, he's got another Force of Will in case that first one doesn't go well.
So what I'm saying is this is going to be really easy to do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're going to see it right now.
4 mana here from Keith since he does draw an Ancient Tomb, so a double land in the house, and there is a Jace the Mind Sculptor. They also need to not have that.
Yeah, not play Planeswalkers.
Yeah.
If we're in Vegas, the odds are getting increasing by the thousands per turn here. So.
But he's got a Fate Seal, and it's like I think every card he looks at, he's like, keep it. Just keep that. Keep that too.
Yeah, keep all your cards.
Discard, just Saxony Pro that was off the top. Keith's going to draw a card here. I wouldn't be surprised if we just see a Fate Seal victory.
Yeah, it's going to be Fate Seal.
Yeah.
You know, if I was on that side of the board, I'd probably be brainstorming.
You'd be brainstorming. I know. I've seen you in action with the Jace.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you never can lose when you brainstorm. That's what I feel like anyway. It's like to draw a lot of cards.
And if Keith does find if he does find a Tezzeret in between this Fate Sealing, that'll certainly get the job done. But Hendrix is literally just going to draw every card. And Vendilion Click will actually be the pressure that's necessary to get the game over with. So now he's coming at him on 2 fronts.
And he's going to write down his hand. It's a bunch of junk. He's like, oh, it doesn't do much at all. So that's pretty much problematic. Yep. So click. He's
I think the only card that needs to be taken here is and I guess in theory Chromox is actually still in his hand, but the only card that needs to be taken here is the Spirit Guide, because that's the one that actually generates mana.
Yeah. Yeah.
The rest of them don't actually generate anything.
Yeah. Probably take the green one because he has 2 red ones.
Yeah.
And he will do so.
Yep. So Elvish Spirit Guide, bottoms up.
He's like, I think so. And he's not thinking because it's a hard decision. He's thinking because all these cards actually don't do anything.
Yeah. Hendrix is still going to have to discard.
All right.
So there goes the Chrome Box. Now Keith on tap. He'll take a draw step. Going to use Jace Likely to Fate Seal again.
Tezzeret,
He may
Agent
have
of
drawn a
Bolus.
Tezzeret. Yeah, so now he can clean this game up a lot faster because there is Tezzeret. He can make a Trinisphere, which is winning already.
Yep.
Get the job done.
Yeah, there's no series of cards Carl can draw to get out of this pickle he's in.
The only interesting here is Tezzeret works as long as it's in play. It's not one of these clauses where it doesn't work if it's tapped.
No.
Okay. I don't think it's. I don't think.
I'm talking about
like
Trinisphere's tapped.
Or Trinisphere, yeah.
Uh-oh. Yeah, bring that Trinisphere up. If you can for us, Captain. We'll take a look. That's a good point. There are some weird ones. As long as it's untapped.
That's what I thought.
Good,
they don't have that on cards very much anymore.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, I think
You're
if
right.
that thing is tapped, he might die. But I don't know if Hendrix realized that. He may have just given up at this point, and he is going to concede the match. So Jody Keith is going to defeat Carl Hendrix 2-0. Blueback Tezzeret does defeat Charbelcher.
To be fair, he had 2 Force of Wills. But,
yeah.
I mean.
Also, Chalice on 1.
Chalice on 1, too. But he